Hey folks, welcome to Thursday, the third of February, 2022, 9:54 a.m. here in Dublin. So we have some U.S. data coming out later on today. We're really going to be covering from half one on. Initial jobless claims set to come out 245,000 below the prior 260. Expecting a bit of a rise there actually. Non-farm productivity quarter on quarter coming out set to come out 3.2%. ECB press conference also at half one. Governor Bailey speaking quarter past two, and then market and services PMI for the US coming out at 2:45, and then really the bigger one at 3 o'clock. Tier one data ISM non-manufacturing PMI for January set to come out 59.5. So we're going to really be holding firm until we really get to the half one marker, if not 3 o'clock. So what we've seen this morning is pretty dead markets across the eurozone, and so I'm just going to drop a lot of these off here. DAX looking quite weak. Everything is really gapped down, across Europe and everywhere apart from the Dow. So let's get over and have a look here. A little bit of nat gas in the background here also. So yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at nat gas there. All right, let's take that off. All right, so you're seeing the euro has made it back on trend up here, and let's look at that. So really a nice little retest here. I think we can start to come down even further in the euro on the back of what should be dollar strength now after the dollar has had a pullback. Looking at that on the Dixie, you can see it's come into that zone that I was looking at there. Well, actually, let's go out on the bigger chart, and you can see if I could just, yeah, there on the weekly. So this pullback here on the Dixie just flirted with the 95.73s there, 95.73s, and I think we can look now towards 97.69s as a target on the upside. So I do like the shorts in the euro as it continues to go off from this area here. Retest on up above, pivot may be on the cards, but I don't know if we're going to get that. I don't know if that's going to happen. Well, who does, right? Cable, bit of info out of cable. Market and services PMI this morning, and dead. Nothing going on there. Really, very tight range in the last 2 hours in cable. Gold, really in this line in the sand. It's very tight as well in here. 18s is the support really on gold at the moment. But going across to these US equities, so we see here on the Nasdaq yesterday, we weren't really able to hold. Once we closed the gap, traversed back across, then we closed on the market and gap down, reopen on trade here. So we can kind of delete that one, and then we have another now gap down, and of course that's coming on the back of the Meta disaster on outlook and earnings. I think the user numbers, the MAU and the DAO, the monthly active users and the daily active users really dropping off there. So down 20% on Facebook, and sounds like value to me. Well, Meta, all right, it's call it Meta now. Fine. Meta a little bit underwater. I like it though at that price. Same way Netflix is great down there. Wouldn't be surprised to hear if our good friend aboard the ship SS Bill Ackerman is going to be starting to buy a little bit of Meta. 20% down. You gotta have some. You gotta have some. Anyway, so we're gapped down on the Nasdaq. Tried to recover a bit of that here on the APAC, and you can see it just no chance of that happening there. So just rejection back down to the S2. 50 EMA as protection. We were looking at this early in the week. Remains below here. So am I super bearish on the Nasdaq? No, I'm not. So that's the Nasdaq. That's what we're looking at here. I mean, a slip below there. Well, the slip below there, we really want to go out and look on the weekly bars here. So a slip below there, your support's coming in at 14,370s. But I mean, it's going to take a lot for me to be bearish on this market. But should we breach the lows on last week, and I don't think that's going to happen today, with NFP to trade tomorrow. then we're definitely into bear market territory on the Nasdaq. So I'm still looking to get involved with a short up here on Nasdaq, and that'll be something you can kind of, if that works out, you can really hold that to the downside. We don't really need to track a lot of these levels for now. So yeah, that's the Nasdaq. On the SPOs, you can see that weakness coming across right now as well, across the equities picture. SPOs on the daily. So yeah, I mean, we've had that pullback that I talked about earlier in the week the into this whole area here, really, on the 50, 120 EMAs. It's quite a complex picture. I don't see any support until 44.86 halves. Um, 20 EMA may become supportive, but there are going to be buyers to try and get this down here. We may even flush further down at some point, well, over tomorrow. But I think a bad jobs report is pretty priced in now. Or today we may want to price that in a bit further, in which case we would probably breach the 44.86 halves. You had Fed's Harker talking about they are expecting a bad jobs report. Really, the key for tomorrow, Friday, is the wages numbers. It's absolutely key that these wages are rising to match inflation. Okay, so that's why it's key. If we have a bad wages, average hourly earning wages tomorrow, that's really going to be quite negative for this economy, because prices are rising, but no one can afford to pay them, essentially, right? So only those who are getting their 10 to 20% raises on their wages, right? So yeah, that's the kind of the SPOs for me. Not too interested in trading this today, to be honest. But yeah, we see this whole area trying to resolve itself here on the SPOs. So we're tracking that gap that was closed there yesterday. So I think more downside, 44.86 halves on the SPOs. The Dow, yeah, I mean, look, I was working on the Dow yesterday on the short side. Interested in this 35,312 level. It's quite a big value area around here as well. So I mean, the trade here was, you're looking at really about a 17 to 1 payoff on the short side had the sellers come in against it, but they simply didn't. You can see here quite a bit of interest, from kind of 12 again on the open, and really half forward, just giving up the ghost there on that trade, and it just pushes to the upside. But you can see there was a log jam here. I was using 35 341s actually as a risk off level, and yeah, just couldn't hold it, and off she went into the close. So good performance from the Dow. I do see there being support now in this general area. We could probably mark that up as well as a little zone there, for us to have. So we'll keep that on the charts as we go forward. So I do believe in further upside in the Dow. It's going to be into testing this trend here, right here. If we go any higher up into R1, and then probably interested in just sitting on my hands there. So what else are we seeing? Oil, yeah. I mean, oil's really finding it hard to get up to 90s and further, right? Yesterday OPEC confirming they're sticking to adding their 400,000 barrels back on as planned, as we knew, as was priced in. Yet the market really took that as an opportunity to sell down, pick up some more buyers, and then kind of finish mid on the session. So today, a little bit of pressure in there. I think selling down below 86.80s, you're looking at cheap oil here. I think 85.57s. I'd want to see buyers come in here again. Will they come in? Who knows? I think the Russia Ukrainian situation is a little overcooked. I don't think they're going to invade. If they are going to invade, I don't think they're going to do it just now. But meanwhile, the US is gearing up to not only help Europe in patching together imports of gas from other places, Qatar being one of the top places, but Qatar alone cannot fulfill the European needs for gas. You got to remember that gas is mainly a subsidiary sort of an outcome of drilling for oil. And if we don't have as many oil rigs back drilling, we're not flooding the system or even helping the system maintain gas supplies. So gas is also pretty much just as tight as oil at the moment on supply. Anyway, where do I see this coming in? I like 8680s as a general risk off level, and you can see why here, right? You can see why. But if we have closing below here, it's quite bearish. You know, if you get an hour or 2 hours closing below here, a pushback into 8710s will be sold in my estimation, and we're going to have downside pressure on that. Simply technical, not fundamentally looking at supply and demand picture there at all. Um, yeah, the bonds are holding on quite well to the 128 8.5s, but you know they are weak below. They are weak below. So yeah, not much really to go over today. We will be going live with NFP tomorrow on YouTube. Please do click to subscribe, and you'll get notified as to when we actually do click and go live for that session. Of course, we'll be going live from about 1 p.m. tomorrow to cover that. Okay, that's it from me. Have a good day. Manage your risk well. You don't have to trade, and today or tomorrow will probably be the better day of the week to trade. All right, have a good one. Talk to you soon. Cheers.